Call security. Now. Daniel Whitmore didn't raise his voice, but the command cut clean through the marble lobby, sharp enough to stop the quiet hum of conversation and the soft clink of glasses. Two guards moved instantly, stepping toward Marcus Reed like they already knew where he didn't belong. Marcus didn't flinch. He stood there in worn brown shoes, a simple navy jacket, hands relaxed at his sides, as if the polished floors and towering glass walls meant nothing to him. A woman nearby turned, her smile fading. Someone whispered. Daniel adjusted his cufflinks, eyes cold, already dismissing the man in front of him. "We don't allow trespassing here," he added, almost casually. Marcus exhaled slowly, gaze steady, like a man watching a mistake unfold in real time, and choosing not to stop it. Marcus Reed had walked 12 blocks to get there, the late afternoon heat still clinging to his jacket, the city air thick against his skin, but he never once slowed down, not even when he reached the glass doors that reflected him back like a question nobody wanted to answer. Inside, everything was polished to perfection, marble floors without a single mark, soft golden lighting hanging from high ceilings. The kind of place where people like Daniel Whitmore decided who mattered before a single word was spoken. Marcus knew that look the moment it landed on him, the quiet calculation, the quick dismissal, the assumption that he was out of place. It was not new. It had followed him in boardrooms, in offices, in rooms where his name had once carried weight before people saw his face. One of the guards tightened his grip just slightly, waiting for resistance that never came. Marcus simply adjusted his sleeve, revealing for a brief second the edge of a worn leather strap, something old, something intentional, then let his arm fall back to his side, his expression calm, almost patient, as if he had already seen how this moment would end. Daniel Whitmore did not even look at Marcus again at first, which somehow made it worse, like the man standing in front of him was already invisible, already erased from the room. "You cannot just walk into a private event like this," he said, smoothing the front of his suit, as if fixing something far more important than the situation unfolding 10 feet away. A few guests turned fully. Now, their conversations fading into low murmurs, eyes scanning Marcus from head to toe with thinly veiled judgment. Someone near the bar let out a quiet, dismissive laugh. Another man shook his head, whispering something about standards. The guards shifted closer, not aggressive, just firm enough to signal that Marcus had no say in what happened next. Daniel finally stepped forward, his shoes clicking sharply against the marble, stopping just far enough to keep distance, as if proximity alone might be a mistake. "This is not a shelter," he added, voice cool, controlled, meant to land. A woman in a silver dress covered her mouth, half shocked, half entertained. Marcus stood there, absorbing every word, every glance, every quiet assumption, his calm now standing in stark contrast to the room's growing discomfort, like a still point in a place that had already decided who he was supposed to be. The guards stepped closer in quiet coordination, one shifting slightly to Marcus's left, the other angling behind him, closing space without touching, the kind of pressure that did not need force to be understood. The room adjusted with them, conversations dissolving completely now, replaced by the low electric tension of people watching something they knew they should not enjoy but could not look away from. Daniel exhaled slowly, as if this had already taken too long. "I will not repeat myself," he said, each word measured, controlled, practiced. "You are not on the list." A tablet appeared in one guard's hand, a quick scroll, a subtle shake of the head offered as confirmation, as if a name could define a man. Someone near the entrance muttered, "Just take him out already," and a few others nodded, relieved to see order restored. Marcus shifted his weight by half an inch, nothing more, his shoes making the faintest sound against the marble, steady, grounded. His eyes moved briefly across the room, not searching for help, not asking for understanding, just observing, taking in every face that had already decided. Daniel stepped closer now, close enough for his voice to drop, though everyone still heard it. "People like you always think they can just walk in and blend in," he said, softer, sharper. A ripple passed through the crowd, some uncomfortable, some amused, all watching. Marcus inhaled once, slow and even, then lifted his gaze to meet Daniel's for the first time without distance. His voice calm, almost quiet, but it carried. "I did not come to blend in." The words hung there, suspended, unnoticed by most, misunderstood by all, as the pressure in the room tightened one more turn, just before something unseen began to shift. Marcus did not move when the guard gestured toward the exit, but his eyes shifted, not to the door, not to the crowd, only back to Daniel, steady and unreadable. And then he spoke, calm enough to cut through the tension without raising his voice. "Are you sure you want to do that?" The question did not sound like a challenge. It sounded like a warning. A few people in the crowd exchanged glances, the tone landing differently than the words. Daniel's jaw tightened slightly, just enough to notice if you were looking closely, and for the briefest second, he paused. The tablet in the guard's hand lowered by an inch. Something in Marcus's gaze did not match the situation, not fear, not anger, something else, something certain. And that was when Daniel hesitated, only for a heartbeat, before straightening again, as if pushing the doubt away, choosing authority over instinct, not realizing that the moment to stop had just passed. The silence did not break right away. It stretched, thin and tight, like something about to snap. And in that space, Marcus lowered his gaze just enough to adjust his sleeve again, revealing more of the worn leather strap beneath. The face of a watch catching the overhead light for a brief second. Not flashy, not new, but deliberate, engraved with something too small for most to notice, except one older man near the back who leaned forward slightly, his expression shifting from mild curiosity to quiet confusion. The guard closest to Marcus hesitated again, his grip loosening by a fraction, eyes flicking between Marcus and Daniel as if waiting for something that had not yet been said. Across the room, a woman near the registration table began flipping through a printed guest list, slower now, more carefully, her brows pulling together as she scanned names she had already checked once before. Daniel did not see it, or chose not to, his focus fixed on maintaining control, on restoring the order he believed had been disrupted. "Remove him," he repeated, sharper this time, but the command did not land the same way it had before. Marcus lifted his head again, calm as ever, and there was something in his expression now, not defiance, not anger, but recognition, like a man watching a door close that someone else would soon need reopened. In the distance, the elevator doors gave a soft chime, barely audible, but enough to turn a few heads, and with it came the subtle shift of attention, the kind that happens just before the room realizes it has made a mistake it cannot undo. The elevator doors slid open with a soft, precise sound, and the shift in the room was immediate, subtle but undeniable, as a woman in a tailored charcoal suit stepped out, her pace controlled, her presence quiet but commanding, the kind that did not ask for attention but received it anyway. Her eyes moved once across the lobby before locking onto Marcus, and her expression changed, not confusion, not hesitation, but recognition. "Mr. Reed," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the marble without effort, "we have been waiting for you." The words landed heavier than any command that had been spoken before. A ripple moved through the crowd, heads turning, whispers breaking into sharp fragments of disbelief. The guard nearest Marcus stepped back instantly, hand dropping away as if contact itself had become a mistake. The woman continued forward, extending a sleek black badge embossed with a silver crest, holding it toward Marcus with quiet respect. "Lead investor briefing is about to begin," she added, her tone formal, precise. Daniel's posture shifted for the first time, not dramatically, but enough, his certainty cracking under the weight of something he had not accounted for. Marcus accepted the badge without looking at it, his gaze never leaving Daniel, calm, steady, and now unmistakably above him, as the room finally understood who had been standing there all along. The room did not return to normal. It stayed suspended, every polished surface now reflecting something heavier than before, and Daniel Whitmore stood there with nothing to say, his authority gone not in a moment of force, but in a moment of truth he could not reverse. A few guests quietly stepped back from him, their earlier amusement replaced with careful distance, as if proximity now carried risk. Marcus adjusted the badge once against his jacket, simple, precise, then finally looked away, not out of anger, not out of pride, but with the calm of someone who no longer needed to prove anything. He walked past Daniel without a word, his steps steady across the marble, leaving behind a silence that pressed harder than any accusation. And in that silence, the message settled, clear and lasting. Respect is not given by status. It is revealed by how you treat the person you think has none.